I do wonder if it was like a throwaway game for them that just went all the way bad too. I don't know. It's funny,
That
Keenan, because
that can't be a thing though. If you have the throwaway game against a Chiefs team when you are 1-2, that can't be a throwaway.
one and two in a.
This is gonna sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothers podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle, joined by Timmy. We got a great sports night on. We got the great Red Sox-Yankees rivalry on now. WNBA finals, conference semifinals going into the finals. Game 5 on. Nafisa said some great things. Great sports weekend as well, guys. How are you all?
Doing good. Been a minute since I've been on.
Yeah, it has been. How's it been?
Been good. I was at a very long, extended stay for a wedding, and that was fun. Had a great time. Now we're back. It sucked because we drove home on Sunday, and from Maine all the way to Vermont somehow, didn't lose service at all. Watched the entire Vikings game in the morning there, which was good. But I had no service the whole time, or the whole week that I was there. So I had no information on Jalen Warren not even being potentially in or out. I had no idea that was even a thing until I was watching the game and Kenneth Gainwell was just going off all game. So
yeah, no, he was a late scratch too. So if you went to bed that night, on Saturday night, with Warren, confident, you're yeah, I think he's gonna play, and then you woke up a little late, you were like, okay,
yep, you're screwed.
Well, that's just,
and especially with it being a Dublin game, if you are a West Coast person, you were screwed. You're not waking up at 3 a.m. to make sure that he's in or out. If he was in your lineup when you went to bed, you got 0 points. So
yeah, you're just that's an unfortunate thing of the late scratch, but hopefully he's all right. Kyle, you're good.
Great. Tim, what part of Maine was this wedding in?
We were in, I think it's technically Bath, Maine. So east southern. We were on a little island, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's parts of Maine that are middle of fucking nowhere. You know what I mean? And where you do have no service. You were there the whole week leading up to the weekend, too?
We got there Thursday, and I was there until Sunday at 9 o'clock or so. And then, but yeah.
That's a long stay for sure.
From Thursday to Sunday, I had almost no NFL news updates come to me. I barely even got to watch the Cardinals-Seahawks game.
Well, transition into, we're going to be talking about some of our biggest takeaways from the NFL weekend, and we're going to start with Timmy, who did at least get to watch on Sunday. So we're going to start with Timmy. Timmy, what was your biggest takeaway from the NFL weekend, NFL Week 4?
It's got to definitely be a couple things merged here. So I wanted to say the Ravens are actually in trouble. They actually have a problem with this roster defensively. Now they're not going to have Lamar for this week, and they're saying that this is potentially a 2 to 5 week injury, which could be incredible if that happens. That's what I saw on social media today. I don't know if that's real, because I thought the injury was fake so that he didn't have to play in the remainder of the game. Because if you watch the play that he got injured on, it doesn't look like he's in any pain or any discomfort at all. So I was confused on that. But if they lose him for 2 weeks, this team could be 3 or 4 games behind the Steelers by the time he comes back, and I don't love that. So then the second thing is kind of that the Steelers are kind of like the front runners in the AFC North, and it's pretty weird to think that.
Still not favored to win the division.
No, and it kind of makes sense because they are the Steelers. The defense is still kind of iffy, and do we really trust Aaron Rodgers? We've seen a couple good games now, but yeah, I think the AFC North is just weird. I don't think any team that comes out of here is going to be a Super Bowl team, even if it is the Ravens. If they make a late season push, the defense has problems and they need to figure it out. So,
yeah, Kyle, you go, and then I'll close out.
Yeah, I feel a few ways about it. Like, I definitely wanted to come on here and kind of rip the Ravens. But the problem is they actually have valid excuses with their injuries on the defense. I believe they're out 7 starters right now. Um, who wouldn't be unsuccessful on defense with 7 starters out? Uh, what I was gonna say prior to me knowing that, Lamar was gonna be out a couple weeks, I just found that out right now, or faces up to a few weeks out. Um, I was gonna say that's both the problem and the bright side for the Ravens is that they have a valid excuse, right? The fact that it's early on in the season, the fact that they're going through all these injuries, that's a valid excuse. No shame in that, losing to the Chiefs. But the problem in that also is that it's a valid excuse. The fact that they can say, oh, we were injured. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we came in with a vanilla game plan against the Chiefs. Now you had better win if you happen to face them in the divisional round, if they even get there, right? Whatever big games you have left on the schedule, which really isn't a lot. Texans will be a big game this week, but aside from the divisional games, I don't think they have a ton of games that are like the Bills and the Chiefs have, where it just seems like they have a lot of just mainstream games, like the Lions, vice versa. They had that early. Bills were early, obviously. They kind of backed themselves into a hole where they better win after that performance on Sunday, injuries or not. Uh, to me anyway, because I was upset with how they competed. And I don't know if you guys saw this. There was one play in particular that stood out so much to me. Uh, believe it was the second quarter. Believe at this point the Ravens are down either 10 or 13. And this was the third down where they forced an incompletion out of bounds right before Butker missed the kick. They force it out. That's a big thing because they're getting kind of ran on at this point, but they force a stop to where they're still within 2 scores. Nobody on their sideline is like pumped to come out on special teams. No one on the sideline's clapping. It just sounded super quiet on their sideline. You just don't see that out of confident championship teams. Now, if the Ravens were coming in to lose anyway, they thought, okay, we're not at our best today. Let's just try to compete. That's one thing. But if they were honestly trying to win that game and thought they had a chance regardless, I did not love the body language when stuff started going left in that game. Of course, then Lamar gets injured and then everything went south. But yeah, I don't really know what to make of the Ravens because their schedule lightens up quite a bit. If you include this Texans game, or if you want to say after this Texans game, it lightens up quite a bit. So they're going to make a run. But if they're without Lamar for 2 or 3 weeks, it gets even tougher. So that run will have to be extended, into November and December, where they could have made up some ground just this month. So that's going to be an intriguing story the entire rest of the season, I believe, especially if Lamar's out for 3 weeks. But yeah.
So the thing is, we all had the Ravens winning regardless. They came into the game with a lot of injuries. We all had the Ravens winning regardless because we thought that they were a better team than the Chiefs. And this just happens about every time they've played the Chiefs. Lamar's won once against Mahomes, and that was the 4th down run where they ended up calling his number on like the 30, like their own 35, and he ended up running and getting it. That was the only game that they've ever beat the Chiefs in. He just doesn't play well against them. They just doesn't play well against that defense. That's just how it works. He hasn't really had many, if any, good games against them. I am worried for the Ravens. They play the Texans this week, who didn't look great offensively against the Titans. I know they won 26-0, but it was like 6-0 going into the 4th. And then they play the Rams next week, and then it's a bye. So, like, realistically, especially if Lamar is out for at least 2 weeks, which could be out 2 weeks and then going to the into the bye, and then after the bye coming back, they could be 1-5. And the Steelers, they play the Cleveland Browns not this week but next week, so they could be 4-1 and then 1-5 for the Ravens. That is a very tough hole to get out of because the Steelers have some tough stretches, but that's pretty much saying, hey, you've got to run the table, and you do have a game against Green Bay. You do have your division games, and the Steelers need to know themselves all they need is one game, and they might win the whole division just off of that one game alone. So I don't love the position that the Ravens have put themselves in. I don't love how they played. They did not come out. They looked timid against the Chiefs team. They really did. And like that at all in a week 4 game that you need to have. I'm worried about the Ravens because I think with this Lamar injury, if it's being 2 to 3 weeks, especially if he's out for the Rams and for the Texans game this week, they could realistically be 1-5 because that defense is going to be tough. And I do trust CJ Stroud over whatever quarterback they have, Cooper Rush or Tyler Huntley or whomever it's going to be coming out. So, a little worried about the Ravens. By little, I mean a lot worried about Ravens, honestly.
One thing,
I mean, go ahead, Tim.
with the last 2 weeks now, we've kind of seen a little bit of poor play from their offensive line. Detroit sacked him 7 times. A lot of those sacks you can say were on Lamar, like where normally he makes a guy miss, he just didn't make a miss, and the Lions just never bit on any of his jukes, but 7 is still a career high. That's incredible. And then this week, that's exactly what Spagnuolo does, is he blitzes, and that's what they got after him this week too. So he definitely can definitely look flustered in these games when they are getting to him like that. And for the last 2 or 3 years, they've never got to him like that. So that's another worry for me, even coming back. How is this line going to play in a month? Is it going to fix itself? If not, then I think we're going to see similar outcomes to a lot of these games.
And the thing is, the thing that Kyle's talked about for a while, holy moly, pause for a second, timeout. They were bases loaded, no outs, and Chapman got him out of that. Is crazy. All right, shout out to the Red Sox for that. Red Sox win 3-1. Bases loaded, none down, with Juan Carlos Stanton sitting at the plate, and you get out of that without anybody scoring is crazy. Sorry. Anyways, you have Kyle a couple years back when Kyle was adamant that the Ravens were the most talented team in the league, right? 2 years ago when they went to the AFC Championship game and they played the Chiefs. And last year, too. Most talented team in the league. He thought it was the best team in the league. And the problem you had with the Ravens in that game against the Chiefs was what? They didn't stick to their game plan.
The AFC Championship game, they just shit the bed. They didn't show up at all. They
didn't stick to their game plan offensively. They decided to go away from the run, correct?
It was a disaster all around. Yes, they went away from the game plan. Lamar didn't run, penalties, dumb penalties. They just looked unprofessional, unprepared. Everything was just bad for that team.
And then you get Derrick Henry and take away maybe the penalties, but you look pretty much the same against the worst Chiefs team this year.
Sure.
Like that's just a problem to me.
The only thing I would push back on is you said timid. It almost seemed like they were okay with losing this game. That's where the only place I would push back is they looked laid back going into this game. This game, they look just
change timid
to
defeated. But regardless of that,
but I don't even, to some degree.
If you go in looking late like that, you look defeated already, which is insane.
Sure. And that's what the vibe seemed like during the game. But I do wonder if it was like a throwaway game for them that just went all the way bad too. I don't know. It's funny, Keenan, because
that can't be a thing though. If you have the throwaway game against a Chiefs team when you are 1-2. That can't be a throwaway.
1-2 where I'll disagree with that is in a throwaway division right now. The Bengals, their season's over. The Browns season's over. So I could see it with a healthy Lamar where you're saying, okay, all right, we got the Texans next week, Rams bye. And then after the bye, I was thinking it was a week early, but after the bye, that schedule really lines up. I agree. You can't really do that in the NFL, but in a 17-game season, we have seen it. And this team is talented enough.
You have a chance to put the Chiefs out of not out of the playoffs, but putting the Chiefs at 1-3.
For sure.
You obviously don't fully. I mean, and you saw the Chargers lost earlier in the game, but that's not even a part of it. But the Chiefs at 1-3, you can get them almost not out of the way, but now they're reeling, and now they have to win, and they have tough games coming up. They could easily be 2-6, kind of thing, if they're already at 1-3 over the.
Listen, you're not wrong.
I'm just saying, if you're right, that can't be their mindset.
You're not wrong, but I would say this about the Chiefs. We've seen the Chiefs week after week so far not be able to run at all For them to be able to run on the Ravens, that tells you how hurt the Ravens are. That's the only excuse I'll give them out of this whole game is that defense is for sure banged up. The passing game, whatever. Xavier Worthy, that could be, that's something that could put the Chiefs over the top because that's by far the most competent the Chiefs have looked. So that's saying something about the Ravens defense right now. That's the only grace I will give the Ravens. One thing I want to say, I did the Hype is Real podcast last week on Thursday.
Shout out to you for that. That was really good.
Shouts to them. They'll be joining the show soon. Shouts to John B. Shouts to Ray. But they're both, this is funny because they're two Browns fans. They're talking about who's the most overrated team, and both of them are like the Ravens. Why do they made the points you do, Keenan? Why are they always losing to the top teams? This and that. And I'm kind of like, all right, but I still trust them over the Chiefs this coming Sunday, right? I was big on the Chiefs. I picked them by 2 touchdowns over the Chiefs this past Sunday, which was kind of insane, especially with Xavier Worthy coming back. My point being was they're super talented. They've been super talented. Eventually, the ship's going to right itself. Eventually. And they looked like prophets coming out of that game on Sunday. I will say that. Getting stomped by the Chiefs like that. I'm not ready to write the Ravens off, though. Unless Lamar is out for 3 weeks and they go 0-3, then okay, your season's over.
No, I'm not writing him off. If Lamar is, if they can get through this Texans game, if they can go 1-1 even without Lamar, then they're fine. I just think at 1-5 coming off of a bye where the Steelers, in my opinion, are most likely going to be 4-1.
If you're 1-5, you're cooked.
So that's where I'm nervous for them. And like asking a backup quarterback to go in against one of the most ferocious defenses in the league, but they could even get in at 9-8 in the wild card.
That's what I'm saying. Even at 1-5, I could see them making a run. Honestly, this AFC is weak.
It is the top half of the AFC is strong, but like the bottom half is weak. It's so like I'm not putting it out of the question. Like they cannot absolutely make the playoffs. I'm not doing that at all. It's just the division's probably out of it. Especially if they go 1-5, and it's going to take almost perfect play, and they do have a couple other tough games towards the back half of the season. So like that's the only thing with them, and they're not gonna because they obviously have the Steelers twice, they have the Green Bay. We'll see how New England looks at that time. Minnesota, depending on what their quarterback situation's looking like, and Chicago might have figured something out a little bit. So like they have a lighter schedule, but there are still some teams in there where it's like I don't know if I trust it. Like them just to be like a perfect 9-1 or something like that down the stretch. So they're in panic, like not panic time, but we got to get right time real soon. So
especially with the Lamar injury, I will say they've earned our respect as a regular season team for us to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it's going to be a complete crater. We've even seen them do it without Lamar, where they win.
If Lamar was 100% healthy, I wouldn't even have this concern. Like if you was telling me he was coming in and he was going to be playing for it, wouldn't have this concern. They'd be fine. They make the playoffs. Without Lamar for a few weeks, possibly, that's where it scares me. I want to touch on the Chiefs on the other side real quick, and we can all give our thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
They still need to get a running back. Pacheco ran 7 times for 35 yards. Kareem Hunt was doing great in short yardage. Worthy helped give him some punch. I still think they should go trade for Kamara. But the play that let me know that everything is fine and mentally for Mahomes, which means for the most part things are fine in Chiefs land, was the play where he got where he ran over the line of scrimmage and then tried to turn it back because he was trying to do a little bit too much. And like the thing about Mahomes that we've always talked about that made him so great is that he is such an improviser. He is a savant with the ball outside of the pocket, making plays happen, and he can just do things that other quarterbacks can't do. A lot of the time, last year, even this year, even a couple years back, it was like everything had to be so particular that like it felt late Patriot Tom Brady-ish, where Tom was like, okay, every single time I go out there on the field, I've got to make the perfect throw every single time. The thing about Mahomes was he was able to sometimes take the only good throw because he could try to make a great one and kind of improvise and have fun. That play to me was like him just going out there and trying things again. He was laughing. He knew it. He even said my bad to everybody on that drive because of that one play, because they only came out with a field goal instead of a touchdown. But it just made me laugh and made me think to myself, like, okay, he feels confident again. And then he feels confident that obviously trickles down to the rest of the team. And then they start to feel confident again. They're getting Rashee Rice back. They're 2-2. Chargers lost. So now the division is not like out of reach. So I think they need to trade for Kamara, but I think that the Chiefs are going to be okay. I thought they were going to make the playoffs before. I didn't think they were going to miss the playoffs for this, but I think that he's mentally like, okay, we're okay.
I would agree that they could definitely fix their run game a little bit. But before the season, last off season, they had talked about how they wanted to open this thing up passing wise and not really be a rushing team or a one possession win the game team. They looked good through the air, and they're about to get Rashee Rice back in a couple weeks. So like it could be even better to where we don't even see the problem with their run game because they are an efficient passing team. So I don't really know if they'll make a trade. I really don't think that they'll make a trade for a
They
running back.
won't, but I think they still should. But they won't.
I mean,
You're
Kamara
right.
doesn't hurt them. He would make them better, no doubt. So I think the only way he hurts them is they give up a pick and they take on a big contract. Other than that, he's a good football player who would definitely improve them. But I just don't see it in the cards for them. They probably won't do it. So, but I think if they want to be a passing team in a couple weeks, they might show us that they are a passing team. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I kind of have the same feelings about the Chiefs that I did the Ravens. Like the body language stuck out to me for the Chiefs. They looked more comfortable than we've seen in a long time. And that honestly to me includes much of the last 2 seasons as far as the passing game goes. Um, I think I'm just struggling with it because same reason with the Ravens. Like the Ravens have their warts. We saw that through the first 3 weeks, but we also saw how high powered their offense can be. Chiefs, we saw how tough their defense can be. We saw the running game isn't great. Like we saw the Chiefs' warts, but now we can see like, okay, their passing game does have some ability, but the Ravens' defense is as weak as we've ever seen it. So I truly don't know what to take away from that game other than the Chiefs looked like the championship team as far as how they carried themselves. And the Ravens, like we just said, they looked, whether it was timid, whether it was unprepared, whether it was lackadaisical, they didn't look as prepared as the Chiefs. So yeah, I don't know really what to take about this game because I'm not sure if Xavier Worthy changes that much. You know what I mean? Like he definitely is an improvement. He's definitely going to give you some deep shots down the field. He's definitely going to get open, but that much of a difference from what we saw the first 3 weeks to where this team was a Patrick Mahomes strip away from losing to the Giants. They probably lose that game if
Yeah.
if the Giants house that. Um, a team who's honestly struggled to move. Again, this is not just this season. The past 2 seasons, this team with Xavier Worthy has struggled to move the ball, and that was as comfortable as they've looked in a long, long time. So, yeah, I
We'll
don't really
see. The Jags are coming up next, and I know the Jags
big game.
offensively haven't been anything that we really care about too much, but defensively they have the most takeaways in the
Well,
they have the most takeaways. The defense has been playing pretty well.
Jags, man. I wish Brandon was on the show because I would love to talk about the Jags because I mean their offense is pretty damn explosive. They just love turning the ball over as much as they love taking it away. So
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like it really comes down to quarterback play. Like the quarterback plays might hinder them from doing more than what they could because Travis Etienne looks all the way back like before from what he was looking like last year. Obviously, you got Travis Hunter, who's a talented offensive player. Brian Thomas Jr. showed like how talented he was last year. They can obviously, as I just said, run the ball, but they can take the ball away from you. So this will be a good test too for the Chiefs, and if they're able to offensively show the confidence that they did last week, then I'll be more impressed than that. I think that was just like sometimes you need to get those games to get the like, okay, that was almost a layup sometimes or getting to the free throw line for the good shooter where you're like, okay, we got to the line. We saw the ball go in the basket. It's all right. We actually can do this again. Caught a couple shots, got some threes. Steph game 3 against the Cavs, where he actually went on that little 3 barrage towards the end of the game, even though they lost this 2015 finals, actually sparked an average 27 throughout the next four games. So.
But we got a Steph reference on an NFL podcast today.
Yeah, but
Take
I
a
mean,
shot at home.
Take a shot at home, but yes, no. To the back half of game 3, like those threes actually like propelled, like kind of helped. He saw the ball go in the basket, finally got into rhythm, helped him for game 5 to get 37. So sometimes you just need that. But so overall, worried about the Ravens, especially with Lamar's injury. The Chiefs, I want to see it again just to make sure, but I love the confidence that I saw from them. We're going to go to the other marquee game. And then there's other games we can speak on. But the other marquee game ended in a tie, 40-40.
Scoregami.
Scoregami. Shout out to Dak Prescott, because that was some of the best quarterbacking Dak Prescott's done in his life. That was an amazing, amazing game from Dak. And he's played well this season. So I want to shout out to Dak. And man, if the Cowboys had some sort of defense, they actually could be really something. This year could be an interesting something. Timmy, what were your thoughts on Cowboys Packers?
I thought the whole overtime rule changes were so that we can't end in a tie.
No, so in the postseason you can't end in a tie, but in the regular season, both teams get the ball. Well, so that's why you now see people defer, but like both teams get the ball regardless.
Gotcha.
And you can still
don't even get me started on the defer.
So as soon as they were like at the end of the game they're like, oh, well, they can still tie it and just end in a tie. I was like, wait, we don't play another overtime? Like, this is confusing. Yeah, the Packers, other than they had one turnover, right? Like Jordan Love threw a pick in that game. Pretty sure.
I think it was a fumble, but either way, whatever it was, yeah.
Other than that, they looked pretty competent on offense. You know, they went down, they scored touchdowns, and they needed to. I would have loved to see their defense like actually make some stops, but like you said, Dak did play like the game of his life, especially as an underdog. I wasn't expecting that, and especially when you say, okay, he's not going to have his best target on the field at all. I wasn't expecting that either. And then I wasn't expecting Javonte to get as much going as he did. Like, I didn't think that they'd be able to run the ball at all, and he looked pretty damn good in this game. So I think from going from losing to the Browns to tying to the Cowboys, like, this was 2 unexpected weeks for the Packers, and I think they just need a get right game and they'll be right back in it. But yeah, it's just super confusing that the Bears can make the Cowboys look terrible, and then the Packers are like, hold my beer. Like, just doesn't make sense.
Boy, do they have a get right game. They got to bye and they play the Bengals. Oh boy. All right, Kyle, you go on about the game.
Yeah, I mean, few things stuck out to me, mainly the Cowboys. This is why I think I said last week, like, I thought the Cowboys aren't too far away from being a contender. And I think I said this after the Bears loss. And then I think I had them originally in my preseason tier. I think I had them at like, if things went right, they could be a contender. And I think you guys actually kind of talked me out of it. This was part of the reason why I had them in that group, is that offense is elite. We talk about them being the NFC Bengals. I mean, if you're on the positive side of the Bengals, you think they're going to be a contender. Most football fans, anyway, if you're on the positive side of the Bengals. So that's kind of the angle I took with the Cowboys. And I feel almost, and I'm shocked to say this, I actually feel almost on Jerry's side about the trade. Not about the Micah side of things, but if your offense looks like this and Dak's going to play like this, and you've got those first round picks and you're either going to use that for a trade, or you can get a pass rusher on the cheap who's, let's say, 75% of Micah, and you can get maybe a great young linebacker with that, or someone in the secondary, you're not far away at all. So I don't know. I'm very interested to see what the Cowboys' grand scheme is here, because I really don't think they're too far off. There's not too many offenses in this league who are going to be fucking with them as far as how they can move the ball, how effortless. That was without CD, mind you. Full week of prep with Pickens, and they had no problem against the Packers, whose defense we thought was elite after 2 weeks. So honestly, we all were big on the Packers pre-Micah trade, all 4 of us, Brandon included. And the Lions are making me second guess that already. For a few reasons in this game. We want to talk about overtime. I thought that was some of the worst coaching I've ever seen from Matt LaFleur. From deferring when the Cowboys defense, who we all agree isn't the greatest, was tired, he defers, puts his team on. So you're already putting pressure on the team if Dallas were to score a touchdown. In my opinion, if Green Bay takes the ball there, they probably score easily. They didn't do that. And then it looks like they played for a tie once they did get the ball. And then should have honestly lost the game. They ended the game because the ball dropped, luckily, with 1 second left. I don't know who the clock operator is there, but he wasn't home cooking the way he should. But they should have lost that game, and there was no reason for it. So that was some of the most questionable coaching from LaFleur. Packers will be all right ultimately, but you take the last 2 weeks of the Lions, last 3 weeks of the Lions, and you compare that with the Packers, makes you question things a little bit as far as our preseason prognosis. The Packers.
Yeah, so I think he defers because he wants to know what he has to get, which I understand.
That
I know
was
what you're-
still poor. It was still
No,
poor.
I was
You
gonna
go-
say because that's what
Sure.
that's what pretty much everyone does now is they defer because they know they're going to get the ball regardless of a touchdown being scored or
Which
not.
is
But
fine.
I know what
pregame.
you're saying. But I get what you're
It's fine
saying.
pregame, but you want to be aggressive against a weak defense, against any defense. To me, I wouldn't want to let the other team score because then that completely changes your scheme. Then you can be aggressive on defense and kind of pin your ears back. I don't know. I thought it was completely poor execution on his part. I was
Yeah,
out of my mind when they didn't take the ball back.
But I thought it was crazy that they didn't go just for a touchdown. Like I understand that. Like I don't know. I just thought that was crazy to me. I know they were playing like conservative, like smartly conservative, like down the stretch, but it wasn't like always smart. So the week 1 loss to the Packers is almost starting to more and more look like a week 1 rather than how good the Packers are in comparison to the Lions. Where it's starting to materialize itself as the Lions. Okay, so the next week they beat the Bears 52-21, beat the Ravens 38-30, and that was because the Ravens scored a late touchdown that really was more of a 38-24-ish style game. Like they dominated that game, and then a game that we just saw a trap game with the Packers. Speaking of, obviously they lost to the Browns 13-10 on 10 days rest. I know they had to go to Cleveland, but that was on 10 days rest. They played on Thursday and then went to Cleveland there, or 9 days, but whatever. They said trap game what? When 34-10 looked just rolled through. And it was one of those things where you're like, oh, okay. So Ben Johnson doesn't matter. Aaron Glenn doesn't matter. This team just needed to get healthy. Dan Campbell set the blueprint. Obviously, that's the culture, that's the system. And as long as you keep Jared Goff clean in the pocket, they're going to be fine. And it's like, okay. So this Lions team looks really, really good as expected. And as your kind of material. And then the Packers, on the other hand, they just look a little young. Like they just keep making these kind of decisions, like these things where like just looks a little young. And I still think they're going to win the division. I still think that the Packers are going to be fine. It just makes you think a little bit like, man, this Lions team is right where they want to be too, because they're still not going to be talked about for a minute. Like they're still right in the, no one's talking about us. No one actually gives us that kind of confidence. Okay, we're good. We're going to go chill with that. So, but shout out to Dallas. Shout out to Dak. He's playing like he's playing like a $60 million man right now. And I want to shout out to him for that. He's playing like offensively, it's not really why they've been losing games. Obviously, they played a bad game against the Bears, but offensively is not why they've been losing games.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I had a few disagreements, but we can move on. We can move on. We don't have to debate right now.
Okay. I mean, if you have any disagreements, you can. That's fine. No problem.
No, they were just late. I mean, no, nothing worth bringing up. We can move on.
Okay. That sounds good. Another good game, Rams, Colts. Colts, to me, even though they lost, They should have won the game, or they easily could have won the game, I should say. And they're for real. Shout out to the Colts. This game showed me that they're still for real. And then that they are truly for real. Because, like, if they were to get dominated by the Rams, really good team there, you could have been like, okay, we can deal with that. But shout out to the Colts. I think they played very well, and they definitely easily could have won that game.
Yeah, they should have won that game, given that they dropped the ball at the goal line. So
Yeah.
I've never seen a team in particular that has done that in back-to-back seasons. Jonathan Taylor did that last year en route to blowing out the Broncos. Then they lose that game. One of the reasons why they missed the playoffs last year, honestly. And then this game, this guy, he didn't even drop it like Jonathan Taylor did. He went to extend and just fumbled the ball, which I don't think I've ever seen it quite like that. And he was basically by himself after a highlight play too. Yeah, Colts definitely looked the part aside from that play. Puka though, Puka looks like the best receiver in the league to me right now. So he's been incredible.
He's on pace in like a 16-game season for like 168 catches and over 2,000 yards. He's insane. It's insane right now. Way playing.
It's that Matt Stafford effect. He did it with Puka on his rookie year. Did it with Cooper Kupp. He did it with Megatron. He's doing it with Puka again. He doesn't care. Yeah, I agree. I think it took an 80-yard touchdown by the Rams to really put that game away. So it was a close game no matter what, even with the antics of the fumble on the goal line. I've never really liked the rule that if they fumble out the back of the end zone, it's just automatically the other team's ball. I don't really love that because neither team really has possession, so why do we just automatically give it to the other team?
What would you put in place for that? Just to get the ball at the spot of the fumble, or would you want to penalize? Okay,
exactly that. They would just get the ball at the 1, and then at least the other team now has a chance to actually give them a stop. Yeah, it just seems kind of like a bailed out situation, but that's how it's been forever. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think Daniel Jones played pretty well. Like, if you just add another passing touchdown on for the game, then people would say he had a good game. And the whole game script changes with that touchdown not being a touchdown. So I don't really have any worries about the Colts. I think they're still a very good team, and they still have great talent pretty much everywhere. I think they'll still be a playoff team. I'm not worried at all. And then the Rams, I think the Rams are like a top 4 team in the NFL. Like, even right now, I know they lost to the Eagles. I'm still more confident in the Rams than I am in the Eagles.
They were a blocked kick away. I mean, if that kick
2
goes
of
in,
them.
they're 4-0. Eagles are 3-1. So, I mean, Rams look really good. The Rams look really good. The only thing I was really worried about with the Rams going into the season was the health of Matt Stafford, because I thought that he wasn't going to be healthy. And if he wasn't, this team's not going to be great. You can withstand it, as we talked about when we're going through the preseason. You can withstand a Matt Stafford injury for 3 to 4 weeks, 6 to 7. Like, when he gets up to that kind of realm, that's where it's going to get difficult for him. So, like, the Rams look really good right now. Kyle, did you have any more thoughts on this game? We talked, Timmy brought up the Eagles and how he thinks the Rams look a little bit better than the Eagles. The Eagles did pull out a win with Jalen Hurts throwing for this many yards in the second half, 31-25 over Tampa Bay. Tampa really wanted to win the game, but Baker threw a tough interception. But hey, he's been willing them all year. It's not the worst thing in the world.
I think Jalen Hurts is well aware of our Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts top 5 debate, because he's like playing it to a T at this point. 0 yards in the second half. Like, after a comeback win of 17 or more, like I said, like, what's going on here? Like, he is playing to our debate.
I don't.
He's going to come out for 400 yards this week. Watch.
It's just like, he's the
Maybe
biggest
rushing
anomaly.
yards.
He's the biggest anomaly in like all of the NFL right now. It just doesn't. It's not, to me, it's not capability, because like we've seen him do it on multiple occasions, and he did it last week against a really good defense. Like, what? He just threw for no yards in the second half. 0? As many as I did?
I've never
don't.
seen that. I've never seen that from a starting quarterback.
I have never seen it. I just
I've
don't.
never seen
Not
that from
from
a backup quarterback.
at least not from. I mean, we've seen from maybe like negative yards for getting interceptions was like 0 of 8, just no yards. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But like, here's the thing: like when this guy is playing in all situations, like he just finds in these games, I guess, just seems to always come out on the winning side, or for the majority, it just always seems to be on the winning side. So like, what? I can't be mad. I'm not even fully mad at AJ Brown for like 2 catches, 7 yards.
Can someone pull up his tweet for me? Because I have a corresponding tweet to relate to this. Because when I saw what AJ Brown tweeted, I was like crying laughing here because it was they showed it on the Sunday night pregame show, and I was like,
give me a few seconds, I can get it for you.
And the reason why is because at least once a year I stumble upon this tweet that I'm about to give you.
He said,
"Hold on, let me preface it with this one.
Okay.
It'll relate completely to it."
Yep.
And actually, I stumbled upon it this week, and it makes me laugh every time I see it. It goes typical quarterback typical quarterback tweet. Love my teammates. God is good. And then it says typical running back tweet. Keep grinding. And then it goes typical wide receiver tweet. The enemy speaks kindly and holds a knife. Hella dramatic, right? AJ Brown's tweet was like 3 times that. Read AJ Brown's tweet for us.
If you're not welcomed, yes. If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way.
That's some shit a fucking wife on her way out for divorce would tweet about her husband.
Does he know what quietly means? He's like actively tweeting and making a scene about this, and he's like,
they're 4-0.
Yeah. It's just fun.
Like, I promise you, I get the fact that it's a little difficult. Like, I get that you are a 1,500 yard receiver capability wise. I get that you are one of the best in the league. But man, if you're not welcomed, why is he not welcomed? Not listened to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. I understand that during the game, that might have been what you did, but after the game, you posting the fact that you did, it's the same thing of like when you make a donation, but then you are the one to publicize the fact that you made your donation. Yep, donated to this, help them out today, guys. Like, you want the adulation for making it, like, even though the donation's supposed to just be you are doing something nice for somebody else. Like, AJ, we don't need this. We don't need this. Like, I'm sorry, but golly, the thing that the Eagles are going to give you, they're going to give you topics. They are the most polarizing team in the league right now, and they are fun. They are fun to talk about.
Last week, when we talked about the Rams-Eagles game, I had said that I still wasn't confident to put Jalen Hurts at 5 because we still haven't seen a full game yet. And then he just did it again. He gave us a good first half and then a terrible second half. So I'm still not confident to put him at 5. Emmanuel Acho made a video about AJ Brown's targets. He had 9 targets, by the way. That sounds like a good game. Like, you got targeted 9 times. He only came down to 2 of them for 7 yards. If you look at his targets, it just kind of proves the point we were trying to make with Jalen Hurts not being a quarterback and being an athlete. Half of the passes were not where they needed to be, and then the other half were kind of just like, fuck it, I'm just going to throw it away towards A.J. Brown, and that's the target he gets. So they didn't put him in any position to like get any yards after the contact style catches at all. It was just like really bad from the offensive scheme. And if that continues to happen, which now we've seen it for 3 full games, more actually, with AJ Brown, I'm still not ready for him to be a top 5 QB. Because if you go look at those targets, a few of them, a good quarterback would have made the correct throw placement, and it would have been a way better game for AJ. So
like I said, I swear to God, he's purposely playing into this personal disagreement and debate that we have about Jalen Hurts. Because coming out of week 3, I'm like, hey, I can't really say anything. I literally set the bar at 17 points, and he did it at what, 18, 19? And he was throwing the ball downfield. And then so you're thinking like, okay, you saw that work. For sure, AJ Brown is going to come back. Actually, as you guys know, in our league, I traded AJ Brown to Ira this past week. And part of me is worried because I'm like, he's probably going to go off now. Like, they're probably going to utilize him more, specifically after that game. Like, why wouldn't they utilize him more? Nope. And Tampa's defense isn't even great right now. And to what Tim said, I mean, that's exactly our argument in this thing is like, you can't tell me if roles were reversed there that if he's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or if Baker's the Philadelphia quarterback, you can't tell me AJ Brown doesn't have a more impactful game. Specifically to Baker, because again, he was 6. But I don't know. I just think if you put 4 or 5 other quarterbacks in that spot, Jake Daniels, Justin Herbert, whoever else, Dak, shit, put Dak there. I don't know if Dak gets a Super Bowl because I don't think Dak's clutch, but man, he's definitely going to utilize AJ Brown more. That much I can say.
Kyle, what did you say last week about Jalen Hurts? That like after last week, what'd you have to do?
That I have to shut the fuck up. I can't. And then what does he do?
Next team.
0
Next
yards.
team. No,
Just 0 yards.
I'm saying for me. I'm saying for me because like I'm on the opposite side of this. Can't say anything. Just gonna let it ride. I can't say anything.
And
like,
that's the thing. We know by the time, Keenan, when are you doing your tiers next? What week are you doing your tiers?
I do them like halfway through. So we'll we got a couple. We got about week 8. We got a couple more weeks before
by that time, he's gonna have a couple more performances that lend to mine and Tim's argument. He's gonna have a couple more performances that lend to your argument, probably.
He's gonna stay in the same spot.
And then at the end of the day, he's probably gonna be in the conference championship game. And like he'll probably throw for 127 yards again. And we'll be like, wow, he played like dog shit. And they'll be like, yeah, but 7 completed tush pushes though will be the argument.
I'm not legitimately can't do it. I just don't know.
I'm getting vibes from this team similar to the Chiefs last year where they win a lot of one-score games. And similar to the vibes of the Eagles a few years ago where they were 10-1 and then finished the season 11-6. And then got boat raced in the first round to the Bucks. Like that's what I think is when this game really needs it, when like it matters most in the playoffs. I don't have the confidence in Jalen Hurts to do what he did in week 3. I still don't. So I'm still on the side of Baker over Jalen. Jalen not top 5. Still there.
What's interesting about that, Tim, is I actually trust Jalen Hurts in big time moments. I think he can make the throws. My thing with him is I don't think for 4 quarters he's like Baker Mayfield or, these other quarterbacks. That's my thing. I think it comes in spurts. You described it perfectly when you said athlete quarterback. That's exactly what I think of Jalen Hurts. Is he a winner and is he a leader? 100%. I cannot take that away from him. You'd want him to be quarterback of your team. That being said, when it looks bad and if there were some injuries to AJ Brown or Devontae or Saquon, God forbid, I'm not sure how much trust I would have in this team. Specifically Saquon, by the way, too.
He kind of just now thinking Tyrese Albert. We had the same conversation with Albert last year. It's like, wait, why are you leaving? Like, why are you having these games where you do nothing? And then it's like, oh, okay, you did nothing all game, but then it's fourth quarter time and now it's a big shot time. Gonna hit the shot. It's like, where do you put that? And then, like, how do you compare that to someone maybe like Jalen Brunson, who is having to put the team on his back and putting up 38 and putting up 40 and going up clutch, like where Baker is kind of right now. Oh, it's kind of Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton, which was interesting because we just had that debate kind of conversation last year. All right, Timmy. We got a couple more teams we can touch on. I know, obviously, there's other games here, but Timmy, talk about them.
What do you want me to talk about? I'm so confused.
Your team.
My team.
Guys, dart into the top.
I would like you guys to know that I picked the Chargers in my survivor pool this week. And in the rookie debut of Jackson Dart, he just shit all over me and just destroyed me and whatever. I hate that. I've never hated the Giants more than them winning this football game right now, and I've voiced my opinions on them. I had a phone call with Camden. It must have been last Tuesday. And I feel like I was just ranting on the Giants for about 20 minutes about how much I hated this team and I was this close to switching franchises. And then this is what we get. They upset a 3-0 team where they're heavy underdogs. Even at home, they're underdogs. And they actually made Herbert look like kind of mediocre in that game. So um, I do have faith in this team. I still don't think Daboll's the coach after this year. I don't think they'll get that. They won't have enough wins, I don't think, to keep him. But this game looked promising. Scatabo looked good. Obviously, we lose Malik. That's massive. That's a huge loss. And I don't know how that's going to fare for Dart. But they do have a good matchup this weekend where maybe he can just get rolling and kind of coast through the next juggernaut schedule, because I'm pretty sure the next 4 are pretty tough games. So I have a little bit more faith in this team, but I still hate them. I want you guys to know.
Yeah, I mean, it had all the makings of this type of game. And if they were going to win this game, it was going to be exactly like this, right? It seemed like a breakout game for Abdul Carter. By the way, he was wreaking havoc on the Chargers offensive line.
Kyle's de facto team. I'm just
Chargers?
saying because you pick. Yeah, no, the Giants. You have Cam Scatterbo as your offensive rookie of the year,
yeah.
Carter as your defensive rookie of the year, and your defensive player of the year. You've just adopted this as your de facto team.
Kind of, yeah. Those are my 2 players. It's not for nothing. Scatterbo is like gonna creep up into that conversation, I believe. If he hasn't already.
Good.
Abdul Carter, he's got some games to make up. He needs some to have the season I'm talking about.
Best.
Yeah. Abdul Carter specifically, though, to have the season I'm talking about, he needs a couple 4-sack games. He needs a couple generational games to have the season I was talking about. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Tim. I mean, obviously, Daboll's probably going to be out of here after this year, maybe even during the year, depending on how the season goes. Jackson Dart looked good. He did the necessary things. But what stuck out to me in this game, because I caught quite a bit of this game, was something that we talk about damn near weekly, and actually came up in last night's game. Tim talked about, this unnecessary roughness call that I can't remember which quarterback it was, whether it was Tua or whether it was Fields or whether it was in the other Monday night game. But there was a few plays in that Giants-Chargers game where Herbert was not only hit in the head, he was certainly hit late. Or it was clear that he was there were so many clear penalties, I thought, towards Justin Herbert in particular. I thought it was a pretty poorly officiated game. There was even some plays, I forget in particular, but there was a few plays outside of the quarterback where it seemed pretty obvious to me that it was a penalty on the Giants and the refs were just inconsistent. We can say that about the Cowboys and Packers, that defensive pass interference that wasn't called. That's my only gripe about NFL officiating, is they're very inconsistent with their rules and very inconsistent in how they call things. Whereas, I think the NBA has poor officiating during the regular season, and then in the postseason, it gets exponentially better. I think I think the NFL allows way too much loose interpretation of their rules among refs, and then you get these controversial calls in the playoffs because the crews aren't calling everything the same. That's my biggest gripe with the NFL officiating. And you see it every Sunday. This game in particular was the one that stood out to me where I'm like, all right, Herbert had 2 or 3 late hits or even a touch to the helmet, and he didn't get that call. And we'll see it mostly with Mahomes, mostly with maybe a Josh Allen, but, specifically Mahomes. But there's other times it's other quarterbacks where you see them lightly touched on the helmet, or maybe a hand accidentally graces them in the face mask and they get that call. So I don't know. Yeah, NFL officiating, but we could do that every Sunday, honestly, because game to game, whether it's pass interference, whether it's roughing the passer, roughing whatever, you're getting loose interpretation all around from different crews.
It was Justin Fields, by the way. He was tackled as he was stepping out of bounds, and the guy continued the tackle 5 yards out of bounds. I thought that was just like you said, give some consistency here. It doesn't need to be superstar quarterbacks. If it's a penalty, call the penalty. And then like we might be upset with the penalty because it's like a leveraging penalty. Yes, we don't love leveraging, but it's a penalty. They should know not to do it. And if we call it very consistently, they won't do it. So
Yeah, so like, yeah, as you're right, we're not as unfortunate as it is for the Broncos in that situation. It's called, it happened, you did it. It's a penalty for it.
Let's talk about that. Let's revisit that. Real quick, back to the Giants and Dolphins game though. Not long after that Fields play, there was a play where someone on the Jets caught a pass over the middle, goes down, gets touched, and then gets someone from the Dolphins
it was
just
the
dives
tight
into his
end.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
gets
that needs to get called
on the ground, and then a D tackle lands on him like 5 seconds later, and they didn't do anything. That would have put him on like the 10-yard line, 5-yard line. It would have been half the distance.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
that
stuff
needs
that's
to get
frustrating. Back to leverage though, and I know we talked about this when that Broncos Colts game happened, but it was right after the games. I still don't understand how the NFL can justify the tush push, but leveraging on every single other part of the game, specifically defense, is not okay. I've never understood that. I hope if they don't outlaw the tush push, that they at least, because that's the thing with football, it's supposedly like you've got elements of rugby, and that's what the tush push is, essentially, is rugby. Why can't the defense counteract it by leveraging on their side? You can't tell me it's any less safe. You can't tell me it's any less safe, especially when rugby does it without pads. Then the other side of this, and this has got to go away if we're talking about officiating, the letting people know you're doing an onside kick. That's the most ridiculous thing, arguably, in the entire league. The fact that you can't have a surprise onside kick, and the fact that they hide about it with player safety, that's their reason. That's complete bullshit. I can't even understand why the hell they would even have that rule in place.
I get the kickoff changes. I think they made the kickoff more interesting, and they also made it more safe. So I get why
That's debatable.
What about it being more interesting?
Not on
More
the
safe.
onside part, but like this new kickoff format where they have to kick it into the zone and they can't move. That is more safe, like objectively, it's more safe.
Yeah,
but
that's
the
what I'm
onside
saying.
one, I agree, is not any less safe.
Well, I wasn't talking about the onside. I was talking about just the overall just kickoff change.
But I kind of disagree with that because I feel like once they're making collisions, it's still at full speed. You're still getting a 35-yard head start and still colliding at full speed. That's the part I mean. Same with punting.
They're kind of right there. I mean, they're closer together than they were before. They're not like they're getting a full run kind of thing. So like, I think it's close. But anyways, I'm not saying it's completely the most safe thing in the world. I just think it's safer than it was before. But anyways.
But to hide behind onside kicks as safety, that makes no sense to me.
No, that's what I was about to get to. I was about to say, I don't. There's what's changed about it. Just because I know, like, that doesn't change any of the safety. I also don't remember a lot of plays in my head, like, where nothing comes up to, or I'm like, oh man, that onside kick got this person injured. Like, I just can't think. I mean, it could have. I'm definitely not saying it hasn't happened, because it definitely has. There's nothing memorable in my head to where I thought to myself, oh, that needs to change because of this, or that this many people were getting injured off of this play. So I guess that's kind of where my thought process on that goes. But to quickly talk about the Giants, I think the Giants are interesting. I think that the Chargers definitely gave one away that they not that they needed, but staying 2 games up on the Chiefs, I think would have been kind of advantageous for them now that they're only a game up on them, and the Chiefs have a chance to actually play them later on in the season. Take that game out. Now basically it's a 50-50 run for the division for the Chiefs and the Chargers after this week. Other than that, the only other team that for me I care to really speak on real quick was loved the fact that New England just ran it up on Carolina. Loved it. Drake May has looked really good this season. I'm happy with Drake May and everything he has done so far this season. 7 touchdowns, 2 picks, 109 quarterback rating throughout these 4 games so far. He has been making a couple mistakes, and that's going to happen. He's still a very young quarterback, but the promise is there, and the fact of a future quarterback being there, I like a lot. And I wish they would stop being 9 carries, Stevenson, 7 Henderson, 6 Gibson. I'd like to just get Henderson featured a little bit more. He just seems to be electric every time he has the ball in his hands. And Ramondre's actually looked good too with the ball in his hands when he just keeps it in his hand. Just happens to just put it on the ground. But other than that, I like how the Patriots have looked. I like how they've been looking. And I know like how they've been up and down. They've been an undisciplined team at times, and sometimes it's been unfortunate, like of just how they are, like just like a youngness of them, but they do have some promise to them that I do like. And Christian Gonzalez being back is going to make a big difference defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. It was encouraging. You want to see them win that sort of game, but I'm not taking too much away from the Panthers. You know, they. I mean,
No, it's not the end of the world
they
to me, but
beat.
like they just beat the Falcons 30-0, and then you beat them 42-13. So like this game against the Bills will be much more telling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, the Pats are promising. You're correct there for sure. Especially like they should have beat the Steelers the week before.
They could have beat the Raiders. They've lost 2 1-score games, and then they beat the Dolphins and they blew out the Panthers. So like so far, it's been better than previous years since
Yeah,
the first Mac Jones season, really.
yeah. They're 2-2. They could easily be 3-1, and I think they're honestly kind of fortunate to be 2-2 again, specifically because they had the Panthers this week. I don't expect too much from them out of the Bills this week. I think the line's 7.5 right now. Would not be surprised if the Bills cover that, even though it's a divisional game. Um, but I still see this team the way I saw them in the preseason. I think week 8 on is when we're really going to see this Pats team click. So like the next time they play the Bills, I wouldn't be surprised even if they won in Buffalo, because this game in Foxborough, or is this in Buffalo?
This is in Buffalo. They play
In
in
Buffalo,
Foxborough.
so yeah, they get them late in the season, probably December at home. I would not be surprised to see the Pats win that game, fully healthy, especially.
I'm not gonna lie to you. They honestly could. After this game, they play the Saints, the Titans, and the Browns. Like those,
That's
that
at
could be
least two.
3.
That's at least two. The Saints are good. I mean, Saints are a good below average team, if that makes sense. They're a
that
good
makes
lower echelon team. They're
they're
moving the
realistically
ball on
coming
the
out of
Bills
the
a
next
lot.
4, 5-3 on the table. 5-3 on the table coming out of the next.
Where's that Cleveland game? Is that in Cleveland or at home?
At home. They play
Oh.
Tennessee and Tennessee, New Orleans at New Orleans, which they could lose that game actually. But I could see them over their next 4 being 2-2 and being 4-4 or 5-3.
They're gonna kill that Tennessee game. Will look very similar to this game, between the Vrabel revenge game factor and the fact that
in Tennessee,
the Titans are garbage to begin with. Yeah, that should be another Panthers-esque blowout on the Patriots part.
How would you guys feel if New England traded for A.J. Brown?
Pumped.
I think it would
Love
be a
it.
good step for Drake May. We've seen quite a few successful second year, third year leaps for QBs coming from getting a talented wide receiver.
It helped Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts became into MVP conversation because
Hurts,
they said, "Hey, let's get it."
Helped Allen, helped Tua. Like, if AJ Brown is making a fuss 2 or 3 weeks from now, wouldn't surprise me if they said, "We don't really need you as it is. We're winning these games with you catching 2 for 7. Let's get some value out of him while we still can." The one thing is that he would be going to Vrabel again, and that's where he got traded from. So I don't know if there would be any hard feelings that way, either way. But I was thinking about that. There's not really many trade teams like for AJ Brown. Say like the season ended right now and they were willing to deal him. I don't know many teams other than the Pats that would be willing to go out there and make a move for him.
Now, there's definitely, I would love for the Patriots in this season to go get themselves another wide receiver to go along with this core, because I think that they really, like, obviously I had them as the 7th seed in the playoffs at 10-7, and that felt like really like wow. With how the AFC is looking, like realistically, like they can make the playoffs. Not like it's like a shoe-in book, like yep, they're in there, but realistically, the playoffs are on the table for them. That they're just play and beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, they should have 8 wins. Just the teams are favored, they should have 8 wins. So from there, you get a 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, so long as the Pats can remain about 500 going into November, I think they can make a push. And I think, again, I think they'll be looking better at that point. AJ Brown specifically, would I want him on this team? Yeah, why not? I think they, obviously they need weapons. I honestly think, though, I don't think Philadelphia is phased one bit by AJ Brown. I mean, he was reading on the sideline during the playoffs. This is normal AJ Brown behavior, and it's normal wide receiver behavior. If this were any other team and maybe they hadn't won a Super Bowl, maybe I'd say, like, yeah, Philly's eager to trade him, but I don't even think they're phased one bit by this. Unless he physically attacks Jalen Hurts on the sideline, which, by the way, could happen. We might see that this year. Then maybe they'll trade him. But actually, just for the sake of that, I hope he does have another game this week where it's like 3 catches, 18 yards, like not involved, not many targets, because he might try to fight Jalen Hurts on the sideline, and then we'll get a big Dom appearance.
We'll get
likely, so.
a goddamn Bible verse tweet.
Yeah, right.
Speaking in scripture again.
Though I walk through the valley in the shadow of death. Like, okay. All right. But
actually, one team I do want to talk about who I think is going to turn it around, they got the Panthers this coming week, and they won last night. It's the Dolphins. They look like they want to play. They look like they're playing for Mike McDaniel. The offense looked fun to watch again. You know what I mean? Like, his play calling is great. I don't think we've ever questioned that, but like, when they look good, they look really good. Granted, it was against the Jets, but they looked like they were playing hard. And then, of course, the story coming out of that game is Tyreek, who just, that's how like, Keaton, when I saw that, that's actually one of the worst injuries I've ever seen. No joke. Like, and when it happened, you could see, like, oh shit, he fucked up his leg. Like, that's not good. My facial expression did not change at all. Like, I'm so desensitized to these compound fractures.
Crazy, right?
Like, I had no reaction to it, and that was easily one of the worst injuries I've ever seen.
Yeah, it had me talking like today because I was thinking to myself, like, when Kevin Ware happened, that was really the first one that I'm like remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying like obviously there was Joe Theismann. I think there was other ones. But that was the first one that I really remember that like sunk in with me. That was talked about for like days. And I understand it was basketball too and not football, so it was a little bit different. But like that was talked about for a while, and you're like, oh my goodness gracious. And that one just looks so bad. And then now it was like, oh, okay. I was going through them in my head, like Zach Miller, and from like in 2017 with the Bears, when his leg went the other way, it was like, oh my goodness gracious. But like, you're right, Kyle. Today I was like,
I'm kind of shocked by this. As we're talking about this, it just came up on the ticker. Like, they're expecting him back for the start of the 26th season, which is incredible. I've never,
crazy.
and speaking of my reaction, I've never seen anyone react as positive as he did to like what could have been a career-ending injury. That dude was smiling. I actually saw a clip today where like someone was trailing
his phone.
someone was trailing the ambulance he was in, and he was like smiling in the ambulance. Like, he reasonably could have a career-ending injury, and I've never seen anyone smiling, not needing to be consoled. Like, I've never seen anyone react like that.
He was clapping, happy, and then was scrolling on his phone when they were pulling him out. Like, that was the part that got me. One guy was like leading. The one guy was like kind of like not pulling him by the leg, but like making sure his leg stayed stable, and he was getting walked out. And he was just scrolling on his phone. I was like, wait, he couldn't care less. He got hurt. He's like, all right, I don't have to deal with this nonsense for the year ago. Or whatever.
Yeah, when he gets hurt, the first angle that I saw was from not dead on, 90 degrees from the sideline there. It looked like he dislocated his hip because his whole leg was kind of sticking the wrong way. And I was like, I was scared, right?
I thought it was his whole leg.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they showed the 90-degree angle, and I'm like, okay, it's right from the knee down. And he's just like holding his leg, like Buzz Lightyear style, arm dislocated, just interesting. And then, like you said, he's laughing on the side, on the cart, laughing, smiling. Yeah, he is a very chipper guy, so I bet you there's a lot of, I don't know what your brain releases at that point to like get over the pain because he's definitely in shock and he's not really paying attention. But yeah, that was crazy. I don't know if I'm ready to think that they're going to be a good team going forward because I do agree they do look like they want to play, but they did just let up 24 points to the Jets, and the Jets were running all day on them. They were looked like an elite rushing team in this game,
For
which
sure.
is their strength. So don't get me wrong, like that's what they should have done. But this defense is still a problem, and now they lose Tyreek, so their offense could potentially be a problem there too. So I'm not fully set on them swinging it around. They are still 1-3. Um, Against good teams, they're probably still going to lose, and it could still be blowouts. It wouldn't surprise me. But yeah,
Easy part
we
of the
will.
schedule coming up.
Yep,
And I think they got enough offensive talent to where they'll be okay without Tyreek. They'll
they
put
do. Darren
Jalen into
Waller
a
looked
mini Tyreek.
like a red
Yeah,
zone threat.
comeback season for
Yeah.
Darren Waller
Yeah.
Shout out to
or
him.
rapper Darren Waller.
Did you see the music video? They got John Gruden in there, like going bar for bar with them at one point. It was so funny. I love Gruden. He's the best.
John Gruden comeback tour has been strong the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Been really good.
All right. Well, WNBA's finals is on right now. Game's been good so far. Unless you guys have anything else.
We got to do picks for Thursday.
Picks for Thursday. We got a good game. It is the 49ers heading to the Los Angeles Rams. Brock Purdy's status is up in the air at the moment. He didn't look great coming back, but honestly, Mac Jones looked better than Mac Jones is probably better than 80% of Brock Purdy at this moment in time. So whoever starts that game, McVay's won the last 3, all close games, but McVay's won the last 3. Before that, Shanahan won the previous 7. So it's going to be interesting to see this game. I've got the Rams. They're looking too good right now. I got the Rams winning this game 27-20.
I think Purdy had come out and said that he didn't think that the toe would be that big of a deal this weekend, so I think he's gonna play. But I agree, the Rams look too good. You said they're at home, which is even better.
Yep. They're favored by 5.5.
5.5 is a little steep, but I'll take it. I'll take more than 5.5. I actually think they'll pretty convincingly win here, so I'll go 24-14. Nice W. Rams top 3 football team.
I'm shocked that they didn't just hold Purdy out for Sunday and bring him back for this game. I would probably like the 49ers chances more had they done it that way.
Yeah, they had a revenge game chance for him too against the Jags. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
Mac Jones revenge game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, against the Jags. Yes, I don't know, it's tough. I hate Thursday night games so much. I really do. I wish we could go back to like when they were just strictly after Thanksgiving. I'm going to go 22-20 Rams. I think it's going to be an ugly game, but the Rams are the healthier team right now. In years past, we could say they're the older team, but they're very young on defense. So the fact that they are young coming off 3 days rest, Niners are pretty young too. I think it'll actually be kind of a defensive slugfest. What do you guys think of Saleh and Liam Cohen trying to fight after the game? What was that about?
I love that Cohen, like, he walks by him, kind of like looks at him like, yeah, I know what you said kind of deal. Waited till he was about 10 yards down the field with 3 offensive linemen in front of him before he ended up saying anything back to Saleh, because I'm pretty sure he knows Saleh would kick his ass if anything actually started there. I don't even know what Saleh was saying, because he must have said that pre-game for Cohen to know that he said it. So I'm just confused on why Saleh even said anything in the first place. Like, does he actually think they're stealing signs, or does he?
Is that what started it? Was because
Yeah,
I've seen the clip, but I never really saw what
his comment.
preempted it.
I swear it was before the game. He said that Liam Cohen, coming from Minnesota, they have a legal way of stealing signs and putting themselves in advantageous positions, which doesn't really
Interesting.
make any sense in the NFL. I don't really know. If he's calling him out for stealing signs and that's why Cohen was pissed, I can understand it from Cohen's side, like whatever. But yeah, it was just funny that he like waited and clearly didn't have like the guts to say something right then and there when he crossed his path.
That is fun. I didn't really see much on it, to be quite honest with you. So this was information to me. This is information to me, but that's funny. All right, we got our picks in. We all going with the Rams. We have a little anywhere from a 2 to a 10-point blowout, our 10-point win here for the Rams. But you think all think the Rams are very good? 49ers injury bitten, but they might be able to pull something out of here. If they do pull out a win here, it'll be huge for them going forward. And division wise, it'll be huge for them in the division. But Warner Brothers Podcast, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, all at Warner Brothers Podcast. We appreciate all of you guys, and we'll be back with you guys again very soon.